guys are now 14-1 when Jimmy Butler plays. He only had 11 points tonight, but can you describe the impact that he's had on this team?
It's a real ball club now. You know, with him on this team, whether he have 11 points, 2 or 30, he make us a real ball club. And when we're a real ball club, we usually win championships.
When word first leaked that Jimmy Butler was headed to the Golden State Warriors, everyone thought it was some wild rumor, the kind of mid-season chatter that never amounts to anything. Yet the moment it became real, skeptics scrambled to predict chaos. After all, the Warriors already had Draymond Green's intense personality, and they were reeling from inconsistent performances and questions about whether their championship era had officially ended. Adding Butler, a fearless, outspoken competitor, looked like a dicey gamble on the surface. But in a single trade, the league's balance shifted, and something unimaginable started taking shape in the Bay Area. If you had told fans a year prior that Golden State would re-emerge as a serious title threat thanks to Jimmy Buckets, they might have laughed you out of the building. Fast forward to the present day, and the entire NBA landscape is buzzing. Draymond Green is calling this squad a real ball club. Pundits are pointing to an almost shocking transformation in the team's defense, and a skeptical fan base is suddenly on its feet, chanting for yet another Golden State championship run. How did this unlikely partnership spark one of the most remarkable mid-season revivals we've seen in years? Stay tuned, because by the end of this story, you might see the Warriors and Jimmy Butler in a whole new light. Everyone loves a good underdog story, and at first glance, the Warriors trading for Jimmy Butler felt more like a dramatic rumor than a done deal. Some said the front office had cold feet. Others insisted that Butler was looking at a different contender. Speculation spun out of control on social media. Did Golden State even have the assets to pull this off? Would they give up promising young talents like Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody in a desperate bid to seize another title while Steph Curry still had gas left in the tank? But the trade happened, and the NBA's collective jaw dropped. Almost overnight, critics rushed to their keyboards to say it wouldn't work. They questioned the fit, they questioned the locker room harmony, they questioned whether Butler's intense style would break the already delicate ecosystem around Stephen Curry, who'd been the Warriors' calm leader for a decade. Some even claimed it was a ploy for the front office to rescue a sinking season and keep fans engaged. No one could ignore the tension between Draymond Green's outspoken leadership and Butler's no-nonsense drive. Which alpha personality would lead and which would follow? As soon as the paperwork cleared, Butler threw on the Warriors jersey and faced the cameras with a confident grin. He didn't bother addressing the critics directly. His plan was to show his worth on the court. Behind the scenes, local journalists whispered about intense closed-door practices. Players seemed guarded when asked how they felt about the new addition, a sign that everyone was still adjusting. Yet quietly, a new identity was being formed, a subtle shift that would soon spark a tidal wave of momentum. Among all the players in Golden State's locker room, Draymond Green was the first to embrace the spotlight and share bold predictions. He went on record more than once, promising that with Butler in the lineup, the Warriors weren't just better, they were contenders again. The man who had already led Golden State's defense for years appeared energized in ways people hadn't seen since the 2017 title run. At first, folks shrugged this off as typical Draymond bravado, yet something about this time felt different. Draymond is known for speaking his mind, often bluntly, and not everyone handles that well, but Jimmy Butler is the type of competitor who respects directness. They formed a surprisingly strong bond, each pushing the other in practice. Draymond demanded that Butler bring his trademark defensive fire. Butler demanded that Draymond keep the entire squad locked in. It was as though two alpha wolves realized they hunted better together than apart. Of course, not everyone in the organization was so quick to unite. Whispers about potential locker room friction lingered, and fans kept a watchful eye on body language during games. People waited for a meltdown, some blow up on the sidelines that would confirm all the negative assumptions. Instead, what they got was a series of huddles in which Draymond and Butler, side by side, barked out commands that rallied the entire rotation. That synergy would become the bedrock for what came next, a defensive transformation no one saw coming. Before Butler arrived, Golden State's defensive rating had sagged to levels unfamiliar in the Steve Kerr era. The once feared strength in numbers identity appeared dusty, overshadowed by rotating lineups and shaky results. Skeptics declared the Warriors' window closed, pointing at an aging Draymond and an undersized backcourt. Then came Jimmy. In a matter of weeks, the Warriors started blanketing opponents. Draymond and Butler orchestrated a swarming perimeter defense that unsettled even elite scorers. Gary Payton II returned from an injury and locked down opposing guards like it was. second nature. Suddenly, fast break points were soaring, and half-court sets for the other team looked painfully cramped. Fans who once groaned at last-second collapses began cheering defensive stands that ended in crucial steals. Reporters scrambled for the stats, digging up numbers that confirmed Golden State's shift. Over the span of 15 games, they climbed into the top tier defensively. Opponents who had scored at will against them earlier in the season now struggled to crack 100 points. Steve Kerr, often criticized for his rotations, was lauded for finding the right balance of defenders at just the right times. The difference was striking. No longer did every game feel like it relied solely on Curry's scoring bursts. Now they had the backbone to force turnovers, contest outside shots, and funnel opponents into uncomfortable mid-range jumpers. Draymond praised Butler openly, crediting him for bringing that pit bull mentality, while Butler kept giving credit to Draymond's leadership. The synergy became a highlight reel of crucial defensive plays, culminating in one intangible quality that every championship team needs: trust. While Butler and Draymond were the loudest on the court, the Warriors' younger players began quietly making noise of their own. Moses Moody, once seen as just another promising piece, transformed into a relentless 3-and-D weapon who could also put the ball on the floor when defenders overcommitted. His shooting percentages climbed, and the crowd sensed a newfound confidence in him. Unlike flashy scorers who might only give you stats on one end, Moody showcased defensive intensity that made him indispensable. Then there was Jonathan Kuminga. Early in the season, the debate raged. Should the Warriors keep him? Did they trust him to handle significant minutes? But after Butler arrived, Kuminga found a more defined role coming off the bench, a spark plug who could drop points in quick bursts. He didn't need to force synergy with every starter because the structure now allowed him to shine in the second unit. One night he'd surprise everyone with 20 points in limited minutes. Another night he'd draw key defensive assignments, challenging big wings in crucial stretches. This depth was what many teams lacked. Opponents looking to exploit Golden State's bench found that the Warriors had multiple fallback options. Gary Payton the Q could step in and disrupt an opposing backcourt. Moody could knock down 3 or 4 threes in a row if the defense sagged. Kuminga could slash to the rim when defenders keyed in on the perimeter. One game, it was Butler making a game-saving block. Another, Draymond forced a pivotal turnover. And sometimes, it was the unsung heroes who tipped the balance, reminding everyone that championship-winning squads need more than just star power. They need seamless connectivity across all positions. Despite the remarkable on-court success, rumors continued swirling around the Warriors. Rival executives whispered that Butler had initially preferred joining a different West contender, or that he wasn't happy with certain coaching decisions. There were accusations that Golden State had rolled the dice too hard, giving up valuable assets and risking future flexibility. A few cynics insisted that Butler's honeymoon phase would fade once challenges arose, reigniting the tension that had dogged him in other locker rooms. Some tabloids even suggested that Draymond and Butler had a blow-up behind closed doors, though no credible sources confirmed it. Instead, what the public got were snapshots of them chest-bumping after big defensive stops, exchanging high-fives on the bench, or laughing in post-game interviews when asked about these rumored conflicts. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos.